We're doing it. We gotta hear her voice. So, welcome everyone. Happy Dominican Independence Day. I'm so excited you guys are here. We're gonna be admitting people. They could trickle in, you know, just take as much energy as you can. This is all about being a child again. So I wanted to call this workshop Hablemos de Cuentos y Algo Más. And the reason is algo más because the missing link is you. And I'm gonna, you know, just jump right in. If you guys feel comfortable, let me see a thumbs up that you're energized and ready for me. Thumbs up, you're ready? You ready? We're gonna think of our inner child. So this workshop is all about our inner child. So if we're gonna start with our inner child, I had to bring it back and it has to be me as a child. So this is me when I was a little girl in DR. And I cropped the background, but as you could tell, that's little me. So who am I? I was born in Villa Mella, Dominican Republic. My younger sister is Natalie. So you see a picture of this. This is a house that no longer exists in Dominican Republic. Aquí en el patio, ahí haciendo, qué sé yo, nada más riéndome y corriendo. That's who I was. I was raised in Santiago, Dominican Republic with a big family. My grandmother is the keystone to my family. We are one. I have 24 aunts and uncles. I have over 50 cousins. They're all everywhere from Santiago, La Capital. Got people in Canada. We got people in Boston. Ya tú sabes, tenemos dominicano in Utah. But why am I showing you these pictures? Where am I getting with this? Let's go. Let's dig a little further. Because we have, in order to tap into our childhood, we have to go back into time. So what happened? I immigrated from Santiago to New York City when I was little. I was 6. And all that made who I was. So this is me now as a mother of 3 kids, my handsome husband that loves all my tonteras, but he's, you know, he's supporting me. And so it's nice to meet you. So this is how I wanted to introduce myself to you. And there's a reason for this, because a lot of children's books, kids don't identify with words until I believe the ages are 4 to 6. This is when they start putting together the words, why it's important to introduce yourself with words and how to define yourself. So now that I introduce myself to you via pictures, can you introduce yourself visually? So instead of writing it down, I'm gonna put a timer on for 2 minutes. You could take pictures, you could take a bear, you could take anything. If you want to identify yourself even with like a lip gloss, so I know you're that person that is like a lip gloss person, and we're just gonna hold how we identify ourselves on the screen. So timer's up, 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to do a little search of things to identify yourself. And I'm gonna do the stop sharing, okay? And that starts now. 2 minutes. Okay, you guys could identify yourself with a cup of coffee, a book to show that you're bookish, giving you some ideas. If you want to identify yourself as a doctor, you could get a little stethoscope or a medical assistant. Let's see, other ways we're going to introduce ourselves, not by writing it down, but showing me visually. It could be a hobby, your family, you know, if you're a mother. And we got 1 minute and 22 seconds. Could be a hobby. It could be your dog. Because when we're going back into time and thinking about kids, kids used to identify themselves as who their friend was, who their mommy was. So we're tapping into who we are as children. Okay, we got 53 seconds. We got the last minute, under a minute, 50 seconds. Okay. For those who have your cameras off, you're completely fine. You could write it in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable with. It could be an object, it could be your title, but this is getting us into the habit to see things in ourselves visually, because when we see children's books, it's all about the images and then it's the text. Okay. And at one time, the text and the pictures have to align. And this is one of the reasons for the exercise. Carlos, you said a pen. I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing. So that means you identify as a pen because this is like who you see yourself as a writer, as an author. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? We got 0 seconds. Time's up. Okay. Okay, for those who have the screen on, okay, I see you with the plant. Amazing. I see you with the camera. I see you with your child. I see you with your picture. Oh, I see your drawing. Thank you, Maddox. I see that. Lisa, thank you. Oh, your family. Thank you for sharing. I see the doll. I love it. I see the picture. Glory, and I see the crown. That's right. Thank you. Claim it. And Judy, what do you have there? You see, Santo Domingo. I love it. I love it. I see your children. Oh, is that you when you were little, Ruth? Love it. Love it. Raisa, I see that picture. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, coffee, queso le freír. Because the white turns brown. I'm a mix of everything. I love it. Typewriter, that's a good one. Took me a while to identify. Don't worry. It took me a long time. So I'm gonna just stay quiet a little bit and I'll let you guys tell me in this chat, how did this feel? How did this feel to introduce yourself? Not introducing yourself with pronouns, not introducing yourself with your name, but as what you identified now. How did that feel? It's fun. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna stay quiet because my kids are over there. Freeing. Okay.
I don't know if we could come off mute, but
yeah, you can come off mute.
For me, it was interesting because I feel like like at work and just I think in the regular world now, when people are always introducing themselves, they're always like, "Oh, I'm this person. I do this." Like, and they just like people typically identify themselves with their titles, but I always like to joke, and I'm like, when it comes to me, I'm like, I'm a human. Because I think like,
yes,
like we're beyond these titles sometimes. So I love that this activity kind of like took us back to our child selves before, like we were programmed to be anything else. We were just like creators, like dreaming different things that aren't just a title. So I love that we kind of got to tap into that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And this was the reason why I did this, because when I started writing children's books, it was hard for me to think of myself not as a child because I was already like Lucy adult. And remember, we are programmed to think of us as a parent, as a caretaker, as a friend, as a thing. But when we're children, and for those who have children, the way they identify themselves is so much more pure, is so much more simplistic. And this is why I say cuento y algo más, because we're bringing that purity of who we were when we were children. So first, let's feed our inner child, our inner soul. And I thank you for that. So I'm going to share my screen again and let's go on. Are you guys good? Thumbs up to know I haven't lost anyone? Okay, good. Awesome. So now that we introduce ourselves, and I'm so happy to meet all of you. Thank you. Ooh. Okay. Illustrations is a very important part of children's book. Illustrations is used to make the reader understand the context of the story. When a child starts to learn to read, or he or she will find it easier to understand if the book has pictures in it. It helps the child to relate with the story easily. The reason I say this is because how important are illustrations to books, right? We're going to see why are they important. So I'm starting with illustrations because although we're writers, I'm going to call all of us a writer. I'm going to affirm that we're writers and that we know what we want to write about. The hardest part as many children's book writers is aligning with an illustrator that tell the entire story that we want to tell perfectly, like the illustrations matching the text. And I'm going to keep doing it like this because it's not like that until we make it like that. And the way we make it like that is by us starting to see and envision things. Yes, relevant for me because I've been in the space of observing and caring for plants and have really been identifying with non-human beings lately. Oh, God bless. Thank you for sharing that. I'm so sorry. I'm missing the chat. I'm sorry. But if anything you guys want to share, you can go off mute. Una clase para el pueblo. Everyone's welcome to share. All right, so I decided to pick a 4-minute little YouTube. It's called The Umbrella. This is an actual book that has no text on it. There's a reason for the magic, and there's no words. We're just gonna see these images and you're gonna tell me how you feel about it, okay? Oh my gosh, is everyone seeing it? Oh, sorry. Ooh, give me 2 seconds. Little technical difficulty here, sorry. Okay, now I got it right. Sorry, let's try that again. So the illustrations are saying a story. We have to kind of figure it out. Look at this. Isn't this whimsical?
The video doesn't have any audio, Luz. Is that supposed to be? Okay.
Got it. It does have like music, but it doesn't really matter for the purpose of the class. And I'll send the link. Look at this dog. What the heck is this dog doing? We need to think like a child. If I was a child, and what am I thinking about this dog? ¿En qué hoyo se metió este perro? Let's start thinking like this. Yes, Lori, magic traveling umbrella to a brave doggy. Oh my God, look at this. ¿Y este perro? Vamos a pensar en dominicano. ¿Y este perro más chimoso? ¿En qué está? Oh no, what is this dog doing now? Look at the little face. You see the face? We're almost there, halfway. Mira, mira, con todas estas focas, como digo yo. Okay, guys, while you're watching this, I want you to think, really get into your head and being like, wow, this is crazy. I'm seeing this dog with this umbrella. Why? Why is it important? How can I connect this back to children's books and writing? There's a reason for my madness and you're about to find out. So okay, got last 10 seconds, just stare at this dog. And so this is the end, guys. I'm gonna pause right here. Okay, sorry. So I hope you like this wordless book, Umbrella, and I got you to think of the storyline. So that's the whole point why we saw this. We're thinking about the storyline. Why is the umbrella important? Why is the dog important? Since we are all wonderful, gifted writers, you have 5 minutes to choose any page in this book, like any page, like seriously. It could be from the beginning to the very end. As you can tell, this is very, very short. And let's write the text. Let's think as children's book writers as we are. Look at each page carefully and give it a voice, a tone, a feel by the words you choose. What would the puppy's name be? How would it think? he would feel about like seeing the elephants and whatever, the seals, going through all this adventure. Did the puppy give a name to the umbrella? Was it like this troublesome umbrella? Or does he think he's just going in a whole lot of messes? Like he's getting himself in so much messes, he wants to go back home. Like almost like Dorothy when she goes, there's no place like home, right? Lastly, is the puppy a he or a she? I'm calling it a he because I had boy dogs. So for me, it's not a girl dog. So this is about you as your inner child. So I'm giving you 5 minutes on the timer to write and think about this story and put some words into it. So I'm going to share the link. Let me stop to share for a second. So if you want to see it on your screen for a second, this is link. It's in the chat. It's available. And let's get the writing. And 5 minutes starts now. How are we doing? Everyone's thinking? You like the book? This is an interesting exercise for sure. So if there's any questions, you're welcome to get off the mic before the 5 minutes is up. We have 2 minutes and 53 seconds. And just remember, this is all about your inner child. Okay, a soft reminder, we have 1 minute and 30 seconds. How are you guys feeling? How are you doing? If you feel like this was a lot, want to hear it, let me know what was the challenge. If you feel it was a breeze, tell me what made it so easy and so frank. And if you feel like, why did we pick this book? I want to hear that too. Thank you, Joe. I like that name, Chuleta. Isn't that awesome? Chuleta. Me diste hambre, but I ate. Okay, 4, 3, 2, time is up. So how did that feel? Anyone is welcome to come off mic. Tell me how you feel. I see that we have Joe put on the chat how she named the puppy Chuleta, which is I think so incredibly delicious to name your dog after something I love so much. And just tell me what you wrote about and what you think.
Sure. And also, I was putting together my pictures, so I just wanted to, I threw them behind me so you could see my people and my pictures. So this is what I looked at the last page, and this is what I wrote. Chuleta was so tired. I miss my family. Oh wait, is that my house? Chuleta held on tight as they started to smell dinner cooking. I'm home.
That was perfect, by the way, and it went perfectly with the last page. Do you see how what you wrote, if we were to write our own umbrella story, how it went perfectly?
Yep. And what's interesting is when I started to write, I started writing in my own voice as an adult, and you keep saying, remember, I'm a child through the, child. I'm like, right. So these are too many words. And so I just crossed out the first sentences. I was like, no, Chuleta was tired. I started there. And I'm like, this has too many commas. So
Exactly.
So I scribbled it out, and then I wrote, I miss my family. And so it felt like a really great redirection in terms of
yes, less words. It's when they say less words, more illustrations, that's everything about it. Judy, I want you to share because I like what you wrote too.
Well, mine hasn't had the editing as Joe's has. So there's a lot of
Don't
words.
worry.
Okay. So I got inspired with the first page. So my name is Andariego, but I've never been anywhere. Would the world be a fun place or full of things that make me scared?
Oh, I like Andariego.
It rhymes.
I love it. I love it. You got it. You got it. Anyone else want to share? Isn't this like an interesting way of writing a children's book if we think about it like that? Anyone else? Yes, please, Ruth.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It works? Okay. I'm using my earpods, that's why. Okay, let's see. Flying through the sky with his reliable umbrella, Rico felt less alone. Go, Rico, you can do it, buddy. Don't forget to write. Rico was a little bit scared, but the monkeys encouraged him, and the birds led his way. He was being a very brave dog, not because he wasn't scared, but because he was really scared, and he did it anyway. That's it.
That's so cute. And the name of the dog is Rico?
Rico. I don't know why that's his name, but
that's cute.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Suena sabroso, suena muy sabroso. Rosita, I love what you wrote. Muy lindo el cuento de aventuras con una paraguas sin palabras. Me hace recordar de un hermano. Okay, que descanse en paz y muchas bendiciones. I love your reading voice, Ruth. Great. Like we're getting so much love. So the whole point of this exercise was to see something and give it a voice, give it a tone, and start thinking as a child, but also not any child, you as a child, because your voice is the most important. The way we think is the most important way, because we're giving it color, very lively story to something that we don't know what's the story. We don't know what the author was thinking. I'm pretty sure he was thinking of whimsical, magical, and he put it all in illustrations. A lot of authors are author and illustrators on purpose, because before they write the children's book, they have to see it. And it's really important for you to see what you're doing, because when you do write a children's book and you're working and you're pairing yourself with an illustrator, you want to make sure that your book is a true reflection of what you see in your mind and what you're creating into the world. I hope that makes sense. Anyone has any questions before I move on to my next exercise? A lot of my workshops are exercise heavy for a reason. So you could go and replicate this and think about it more and more. It makes it easy to write things down in bullets when you're ready to write, by the way. Any questions? Is it okay? Can I get a thumbs up if you're ready for the next one?
Just a word of caution in writing children's books, that children
Yes.
believe the storylines. I mean, a child jumped off a window, you know, because he thought he could fly like Superman. And so this little story, as cute as it is, you know, makes children believe that an umbrella can save them, and or they can as a parachute, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, thank you for mentioning that, Rosita. I know many writers do include in the like before the story like a note, you know, like stating like why I wrote this book is truly imaginary, and I'll share more about that at the end. In a story that I wrote with my son, we made sure we used the word "this is purely imagination," and some writers do include that because of that word of caution, which you're totally correct on. Okay, Lola.
So, make believe. Children use the word make believe.
Make believe, or yeah, definitely. Lola, she loves rainy days. The candy red apple her mommy used to rainy days signal joy, except the windy ones. First page. Love it. Thank you. Okay, and this is similar to Mary Poppins. Glory, that's perfect. That's true. When I picked this, I thought of Mary Poppins, and I thought about all the Disney crazy songs that would come on when they were doing like the chimney. Okay, so if we're ready, this next exercise, it's really short. I feel like this is my last one before we move on to something else. But I'm gonna ask everyone if they have a piece of paper, like a blank piece of paper, and a pen. This is all you need. You will not be using your computers that much. You're welcome to just take a blank piece of paper and a pen. This is an exercise that I learned from a fellow EDA sister from Project Enye, that she teaches writing workshops, and I love this so much. I do this a lot now, and it's very freeing. Okay, so let me share my screen again, if you guys permit me. We got the green sign, the thumbs up to know we're ready. Okay, great. So this is let's draw a tree. So I'm gonna time you for 1 minute. You're gonna draw the tree. Doesn't matter how your tree looks. You have 1 minute, and I'll tell you when to start. I need to see that people have papers and it's blank. So I know we're all starting from a good place. Complete blank page. Okay, great. So I am putting the timer and go. Remember, a tree has branches, little leaves. Would it have a nest? Would it have a little bird flying through it? Would it have a rainbow behind the tree? Would it have some sun shining on the tree? Would it be a naked tree? Would it just be branches? Would it have leaves? How big are the leaves? Anything, would it have like that little hole for like the squirrels to live in? Will it have grass in the bottom? I'm giving you guys all some clues of ways to think about a tree. You have 24 seconds. Our time is almost up. Just let's draw this tree. Let's give it a name if we have to. I think I want to call my tree Petronila. I don't know why. I just feel very Spanish. So, okay, we got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me see your tree. Oh, wow. Great. Okay. We're going to do this again. We're going to try to draw that same tree we got with 30 seconds. Okay. So I'm going to put the timer up. 30 seconds. I'm going to tell you when to start. And now. So we're kind of replicating the tree we had. It could have the grass, it could have the little hole, it could have a nest, it could have the sun behind it, a rainbow. Who knows, maybe someone is sleeping next to the tree, taking a nice nap, like the giving tree. It could have a little stump, branches. We're coming up on 5 seconds now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're good. Let's see that tree again. So does the first tree look like the second tree? Right? Sometimes it does. So now comes the hard part. I'm giving you 10 seconds.
Oh,
So everyone, let me see. Ready, set, go. You have 10 seconds to draw that tree. Why are we drawing this tree? Like, why is Loose Mac making me draw a tree? Like, what kind of class is this? Angie, she must be going crazy. You gave her, oh, that's it. Talking more than I should. So if you notice, let me see the trees. Let me see the trees. Yes, yes. Now, does the first, the second, and the third tree look alike? Can we tell it's a tree? All three of them. Can we all, even though things are missing? Maybe one of them is missing a leg, I mean a tree, like a branch, a little leaf. Maybe it's a naked tree. You know, maybe it's a palm tree. Okay, why am I doing this? Let's see, what's the craziness? Why am I doing this? Let's see. Why am I thinking about a tree? I think a tree is something beautiful and simple to do. So, this is the secret about the tree. The tree represents us writing. With more time, we know the story we want to write. It has a beginning, an end, a middle. It has an emphasis on our overarching themes that we want to carry out, the message to the world. With less time, we still have the message, we still have the theme, we still have the beginning and the end. And with less time, the less, which is 10 seconds, what do you think we capture?
The essence of the tree.
Yes. Yes.
I agree, the essence.
So the whole point of writing the tree is that sometimes we get really consumed. I have a month, I have to pound out this book. I have a week, I have to pound out this book. I have a day, I have to pound out this book. We should concentrate on its essence. There's a lot of different messages behind this exercise. I've heard them all, but my favorite part is the essence. If you are to write a story, what would your overall message be? And I'll give you an example. Many of you might not know, but I wrote a book called Pequeña María, Little Maria. There's a reason, and thank you, Judy. That's the one I wrote with Angie, Discover Her Dance. The essence about Pequeña María, Little Maria is that I wanted to show a child, not just any child. It was my inner child in Dominican Republic, what made Dominican Republic so special to me and who I was as a child. And I think for the most part, many children's book writers, we do know our message. We have our message very, very, very clear. But when we're writing our first book, sometimes we get really, I don't want to say confused, but we get a little, like it's a daunting process writing. So we might forget like the message, the overall message. We might have too many messages. And when we're writing for kids, it should be one simple message being carried out. So a child, when they read this book, they're like, I get it. Like one of my favorite writers who's not Dominican and she passed away is the lady from Llama Llama, Red Pajama book. That was my son's favorite book. Llama Llama was scared. He wanted his mom there. And the whole message was that mommy was always there, even if he can't see her. That was the message. Of course, you see Llama Llama going crazy. I can't sleep. It's dark. Llama Llama going like this. But that was the message. So, and anyone has questions before we move on? Because I want to get now to some of the kind of like the boring part about writing a children's book, but it's a very necessary part. Any questions? Welcome to Jump Off the Mic. Okay, I'll take your silence as a thumbs up. Thumbs up. You want me to move on? Okay, great. So there's 6 different categories for children's books. There's board books. This is really important. A board book should be less than 100 words. So now this is like the details. Anything over 100 words will be trickling into a picture book. A picture book is something like this. The word count could be 250 to 1,000, but a picture book should be, you're seeing a story, you have text. You're seeing a story, you should have text. And picture books are supposed to be for 3 to 8. The reason they put it 3 to 8, because at that time, can anyone think about why board books are 0 to 3 and picture books are 3 to 8? Anyone has an idea? Moms? Schools. We have kids are in nursery schools. They're starting to identify sight words. Board books do not need a lot of sight words. They do need things to get comfortable with seeing text. And toddlers can hold the board books. That's true. Board books are supposed to be their first introduction to falling in love with words. So the current sweet spot for a picture book, and this is the truth, and this is me after my experience working with 2 different publishers, one Dominican Writers and one Soaring Kites, and my third was my opportunity to work with Disney's Encanto storybook art book through Random House. 500 words is the sweet spot. The reason is just because it's not heavy. The text will be very small and it'll almost be like this, like they see the picture and they see like a little bit of text. So the kids, even though they don't see the words, they could figure out by the picture what's going on. And that's important. Early readers are ages 5 to 9. This is a little bit more difficult. It has to be anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000. There's a lot of series books that are really capturing that. The most famous one for boys is the Wimpy book. Boys, for girls is, I think it's called Girl Magic, Black Girl Magic. No, it's Girl X. No, oh, I forgot, because my daughter's Ivy Bean is one. My daughter just graduated from the Ivy Bean part, but there's a lot of important series books that fall into early readers. Now, I'm going to share with you, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second. When I was hired for the opportunity to work for Disney Word Art, I was doing a level 2 book. A level 2 book is it was hard for me to think in these terms, but when you're working with a publishing house, you have to think in these terms, because the art, even though if you're writing a book and you never see the art, you have to think about how many characters the page have to have. So a level 2 book, which is, think of the first book as something under 500 words. A level 2 will be 500 words. It means every page should not have more than 25 characters. So that was a level 2 book. And the reason this is a little bit more technical, it's not as fun as doing the workshop, but it's like the little illustration exercise, is because I want us to start thinking as a like the business side of it. Like, why are there less words and more illustration heavy? So go ahead, Joe.
So you're using 2 words that I'm not sure if they mean the same thing. So I hear characters to me means letters and words mean a whole word. So if it's 500 words, what's 25? What is it that we're looking at?
25 characters a page is including spacing. They're including that as a character.
So they're calling words characters.
So,
okay.
So think of like Twitter. When you're doing Twitter, how many characters it allows, including spacing?
So I'm with you on that, but how many, I guess then the other question is how many pages?
So a picture book, picture books are like 32 pages, right? But it really depends on the publisher you're working with. And it depends if you're doing self-publishing of your own book, then you drive the story, meaning like you are the deciding person that decides how many pages you want, how many illustration heavy you do. But when you're working with a publisher and it's more going to be a picture book, they're going to focus more on the pictures and your text has to really match that. So it's depending on that experience. So you have to kind of play like that. But I want to share this because this is good information to have. Because when it happened to me, I was like, oh, wait, what? It was a lot of reprogramming my brain. Me like, okay, I have to take it to the essence, the simplest thing. I'm not seeing a picture. Tell me what you see. Any more questions? Does that make sense? I know this is good. This is more of the technical side. 32 pages out of 500 words means approximately 15 words per page. Correct. Sometimes they push it up to 20 words per page. It depends on the project. It depends on the publisher. But every publisher for traditional side, if they say you're a children's book writer and they say 500 is the sweet spot, that's what they're going for. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? So I'm gonna share my screen again.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
If the page is a double page, like the whole scene is 2 pages, is that 15 words each, or meaning 30, or is it still just 15?
It depends on the publisher.
Okay.
Some publishers are gonna want, if it's a whole spread, that's what you're going for. They're gonna rely more heavily on the scene. This is just me thinking outside the box than the text. But if it's a whole spread and they want a whole like descriptive story, they might want 15 in each page.
Okay.
But honestly, you're only learning this technicality so you understand when you write your children's book how you want things to lay out and go. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Hey, Raisa, go ahead.
Hey, so my question is around your writing process. So when you know this, you have to write 500 words. Do you write it off like in one, like 500 words can be 2 paragraphs, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, yeah, you
So
got it.
you write your 2 paragraphs and then you start, like, how does that work? Like, how do you get to the
So
point without
this is-
images?
So I'm just gonna not share the screen and I'll answer some of the questions for me, and I'm gonna speak just for me. Every writer is different, and I just want you to know that I'm just sharing some tips, but I don't want you to think this is the end all be all. You have to follow what's true to you. So I just want to focus on that. But for me, it's important. If I see a story in my head, like if I dream of a story, and I think one of the beautiful things about this community, Angie has seen so many of my drafts for stories, right, Angie? When I'm thinking of a story, I share a draft to see if people como que it lands on them, like they find meaning on it. But I'll write the story and then I'll start editing. And the editing process, this is what a lot of writers, even myself, when I was first starting, the editing process, it's not 1 month or 2 months. I think Angie read one of the first drafts of The Secret of the Plátano. Do you remember, Angie? When I shared with you The Secret of the Plátano over WhatsApp, do you remember that?
I do not, but
Yeah, but I'm gonna say that.
wait,
That's a
and
book
I
that-
don't remember because people share so many stories with me that I lose track. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure at some point a while back I read it. And then you announced that now it was picked up by a publisher.
Yeah, that went over 30 editing, like 30 rounds of edits. Now, as a writer, I'm not trying to scare you with the edits. What I'm trying to tell you is you write the story first and then edit down, and then you pitch. The pitch is editing, and pitch could be a whole different workshop. I'm just going to be honest, but for the purposes of this workshop, I want to say, if you're going to write a children's book, start with the story you want to tell first, write it all down, and then start like peeling it out and start thinking about the essence. What is the essence you want that story to carry? Do you see how this is all interconnecting? And then if you're going to self-publish like I did, write a little bullet. If I'm going to say, my story of Pequeña Maria, where's this? I have a book here somewhere. Let me just get it, just so I could illustrate what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me take off the blur so you guys can see me. Choose virtual background, none, okay. So this is the closest Maria book I have to me, sorry. Pequeña Maria Super Ayudante. My whole goal about this book was teaching my kids how I grew up cleaning my house when I was little in Santiago, right? When I was thinking about this book, I thought about everything I used to do in Santiago, en un campo. That was it. So that was the essence. So what do you think I wanted to show in the images? Anyone come off, you could come off mute. I just really wanted.
Dirty things and clean things.
Yeah, that's one. Anything, so I wanted to show how we used to get up early in the morning, una casa con un mosquitero, and then my words matching. And then my mom doblando sábana, me jumping on the bed, but people started to pick up toys. En la galería, en un patio, la gente barriendo la galería, una casita de zinc. So I took it to the essence. What was the essence for me? Mi casa en Santiago. Is this helping illustrate what I'm talking about? If you have questions while I talk, come off mute, don't worry. I know we're going a little past the hour and then I'll get back to the technicalities. Recogiendo madera para la cocina. Si tú eres campesina o de cualquier otro lugar, en México, Venezuela, en Colombia, mi tía en Venezuela recuerda cuando era chiquita recogiendo madera. El trabajo mío era de que lavar los puerquitos. I still remember que yo tenía un vasito de que para echarle agua y esos puerquitos estaban all over the place. Lavando la ropa a mano. Do you see how I took it to the essence of how I grew up cleaning the house and then I made a book based on that? Does this make sense? Is this like a, okay. So if you're gonna write your children's book, thank you. Gallinas, thank you. How the house looks like. Leña pa'l fogón, that's exactly why we were picking up la leña. Y la comida de fogón, ay Dios mío, qué cosa más buena. Awesome, awesome. So if this helps illustrate what I was talking about, a picture book, with the board book, it's 100 words and it's less. So every picture has to match the word. And I'll give you an example because I have so many board books that I got rid of. Like I said, my son's favorite board books were Llama Llama, and Llama Llama had a lot of board books. There was a book that Llama Llama, I think it's called Llama Llama Zing, Llama Llama Zoom. And one of them, llama is jumping and it says llama llama jump. And you see the little llama jumping. Llama llama boing, and you see him like falling and hitting himself. So everything has to match. We're good? Good. And then so now we understand board books, why 100 words have to match the picture. Picture books, how the picture kind of has to match what's going on. Then what do you think an early reader picture book should look like? Anybody, there's no wrong answers. I just want to get you guys to think a little bit.
More pages than
Go
a
ahead,
board
Haisa.
book.
More pages than a board book, and how do the picture should look like?
A little bit more detail in the book.
Yes, those pictures better be like so detailed. Like I'm on the train, the homeless guy is asking me for change, or he wants some food, and then the text got to be there, and you hear the guys dancing hip hop, like that, like give it to me saucy. It's more text. The pictures have to be heavy, heavy, heavy. It's not simple. We're not talking about simple pictures and simple animations. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sweetie. I'm in class, baby. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. My daughters went to hip hop and I have my son. That's my little writer. Okay, so now I'm going to share the screen. If now that this makes sense, If this makes sense, I want to see thumbs up. If I helped it make sense, the 6 different categories for picture books, okay? I showed 3, and this is the next 3. Oh. Chapter books. The word count is 8,500 to 12,000. It could go up to 20,000, and this is for older readers. The type of art is spot art. We should think about like BFG, Big Friendly Giant. What else? Other books that are really famous. Harry Potter books. Harry Potter books are not really picture heavy. Some have like little spot art. Middle grade is the same. It's just heavier and heavier. So what I'm trying to tell you is in the children's book space, we still depend on art, but the text goes depending on the age level. Does that make sense? Okay, moving on. But I think the first 3 are the most important to know. Now step into reading school categories. This is important. Ready to read is preschool and kindergarten. Big type and easy words, rhythm and rhythm, picture clues. What is rhythm and rhythm? What does that mean?
Rhyme and rhythm. It's just like what I don't remember who put it up, but the da 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 ends a sentence, and then the next sentence sounds the same as the sentence before.
Yep, for step into reading book, we have books like Jingle Jingle, Jingle Jangle, Jump Pop, like things that make sounds because they're getting like used to the words. Reading with help is level 2. That's what I wrote for Encanto. Less than 25 characters, all sight words, all sight words. What is sight words? Anyone knows what sight words is for kids when they're getting into reading?
Is it things that they can sound out based on how the letters sound?
No, sight words is like I, the, like the first 100 sight words. The school has that. Every teacher, when they're early readers, they're trying to get in, when they see the word the, like to recognize it right away. I, am, dog, cat, all of these are sight words. Words that are like una sílaba, 1 syllable, like it should be easy to read. Anything over 2 syllables, what's a 2-syllable word? Anyone think about? Because is a 2-syllable word. It is a step into reading 3. This is important because if you're writing a board book, what kind of words you need? Rhythm and rhythm, jump, pop, start, swing, anything 1 syllable. Reading with help, a little bit because, but not so much. More sight words. I am, the ball, play with, my friend. Make sense? So as you can see, by the level, your writing should get a little bit more complex. Okay? This is the technical part, but it's really important to know because when you're writing your children's book, you're gonna say, this book is for ages 0 to 5, 0 to 3, 5 to 7. This is the more technical part. Okay. So this is Chloe. When my daughter got into private schools, she was the only Dominican and only African-American child by Black and brown parents. She got into a private school. She's the reason I started writing. And I kind of want to kind of share why I became a writer. One day she told me she wanted to be blonde. And she was so sad. She thought she was ugly. All her friends were blonde. All of them had beautiful vanilla skin. And I was devastated. I was devastated because I worked so hard to get her into a private school in New York City. For those that live in New York City, it's really important to get your kids into good schools because some of the schools you're zoned. So it's depending by the zone. So me and my husband decided to go the private school route. I told the teachers my concern about Chloe being the only minority in the nursery grade and how she felt. And the teacher was really kind. They did a whole class on our skin is tasty, like our skin is beautiful. So they put vanilla, chocolate, caramel, strawberry. They got to mix it up and eat it and say like, oh, we're tasty. But for me, it was a cry for help. It was a cry for like, let me make my daughter see herself. Let me help my daughter feel affirmed. Let me help my daughter feel like she belongs. So that's what made me start writing Pequeña Maria, Little Maria, because one of the teachers told me, if you want to help your daughter feel a little bit more, I guess the word that she belongs, is show her pictures of your family, show her pictures of people that look like your family. So that's what we did. Every night I will go, I'll show her pictures of like, it went to Harriet Tubman, it went to Miss Obama, it went to Miss Obama's children, it went to my grandmother, it went to my aunt, it went to my mother. Like I started saying like how she fits in the family. And then I took it globally. These are the famous people that we know that could be our family because they look like us. Now, at the time when Chloe was little, there were not a lot of Dominican children's books. Trust me, I tried looking. And I only knew Lo Libro Nacho. To me, Lo Libro Nacho was like the closest thing to show children's book. And El Principito era blonde, so me jodí. Because my daughter tenía el pelo negro, crespo. So what I'm trying to say is that's what got me to write my first children's book. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know there was Dominican writers. I met Dominican writers. I met Angie in the pandemic, right? I believe it was the pandemic and the start of the pandemic. I was picking up children's books. I was spending so much money on children's book on books that identify to the Black experience in the diaspora in so many ways. I think there was a book called Kelsey, something like that she liked and identified with, but it wasn't what I wanted her to learn. I wanted her to learn where her mom and dad comes from, so she knew who she was. And to me, that was like what motivated me to start writing. The reason I'm sharing this is because this is what propelled me to become a writer. My first book sucked, let me tell you. It sucked so much because I had no clue what I was doing. But I did it. And I want you to know that I started writing more and more. And the fact that I kept at it and learned my craft, and I'm not going to say like, pat myself on the back that I know everything I'm doing. No, that's what it is to do writing. It is an endless process of you writing, reading it, reading other people's work, attending workshops. I attend a lot of the Dominican Writers workshops when I can, even with my kids, because I know the best writing comes with time and experience, right? So let me share with you one more thing. So this is my Chloe when she was 3 to 4. This is why I started writing. And this is what happened next after writing. Little Maria, children need to see themselves in books, content, and stories. This natural urge to better understand ourselves inspires learning. And if you don't believe that a book could inspire learning, trust me, all my kids started writing just because of me. And I'm not going to say I was the example because I showed them all the mistakes mommy had made. And I want you to be proud of the mistakes because the mistakes teach learning. So the log line of Little Maria, the log line is the essence, like back to the tree. What is the purity? What is the essence? To get to know Maria is to learn about a child and what makes her world so special. So I hope you are thinking about a children's book and why you want to write and gets your creative juices flowing. Before you write your book, let's think about the theme or the log line of your book. What is the main story, the message your book is going to carry? And if you don't have one, it's good to write some words that you want to help gather your thoughts together and make sure, like, is it about love? Is it about inclusivity? Is it about natural resources? Is it about imagination? Is it about, anything, mindfulness? So you can inspire. This is something I want to make sure I echo very loudly. Your story inspires others. And every time you feel kind of like that you can't do this, just think of Luz. Luz's first book sucked. She had no clue what she's doing. And look at me now. I'm teaching a class. And if that's the log line you have to say, loose book suck, I'm here for you. So you are not sure what you want to write about? Don't worry, I got you. Story writing prompts. And if I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. What is the story writing prompt? I'm glad you asked. Let me, hold on. Espérate, take it easy, papi. ¿Dónde te fuiste? Story writing. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I promise I'm gonna be, let me share. This is one of the best story writing prompts my kids uses. It's from Scholastic, Story Starters. It's one of the big five. Scholastic, just as you know, it's a publishing house. Do I want to write adventure? Do I want to write fantasy, sci-fi, a scrambler? Meaning like it picks itself. We're gonna choose one. Type your first name and look, why was I concentrating on the levels? Because you can't write unless you know the level you want to write. How crazy. So Luz is teaching you something that makes sense. So what do we want to pick the first name? Go ahead. Anyone tell me something. I'm not going to pick Luz. Go ahead.
Altagracia.
Altagracia, vamos. Altagracia. What level? Are we picking K through first, second, third, fourth, or sixth?
Second.
Second. That's a hard one. But
Okay.
let's do it. And we're going to give it a spin.
This is awesome.
Okay. Write a short fan letter to an orange clock who wears one brown shoe and one black shoe.
I love this.
Yeah, that's
Can you put that link in the chat?
Not only am I gonna give you the link, I'm gonna give you
Luz.
all the links.
Luz, keep the screen up so people could.
well, she's gonna post it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna post all of them. So if you don't like this prompt, guess what? Don't worry, I got you. Luz got you. Angie's got it, and Luz got you for this workshop. Remember that. These are all the writing prompt links. So I want you to get in the habit that before you are writing your book, get in the habit of playing around, just writing to write. One of my first writing prompts, and I'm going to share this with you, was I was taking a sci-fi class, and through Gotham Writers, this was before virtual was virtual. They make you go over there. And one of the writing prompts I never forget was that we had to write a sci-fi based on the fact that someone was walking by a body of water and they found a rock. And we had to write it from the perspective of us finding the rock, of someone seeing someone else find the rock, and the institution finding the rock, whatever the institution was. And that was a sci-fi class. And that was my writing prompt. And I was like, ¿Qué diablo este hombre está hablando? Because first of all, I didn't relate to none of that. And you know, Rosita, tú estás riendo, pero es verdad, yo, concho, ¿por qué yo pagué por esto? Yo ni sé de lo que él está hablando. But guess what? Yo aprendí tanto. I heard all these white people talk about their stories, about the institution, who's the institution. And guess what? This was back in, let me see, I'm trying to think. 2011. 2011. I never forgot it. And by that time, 2011, it was the birth of so many sci-fis. Can you believe that? And I still haven't written a sci-fi because to me, I'm still trying to connect the dots with it. But what I'm trying to say is don't give up, do writing prompts. It helps get the creative juices. But for you as children book writers, we have to think in three things. We have to think purity, images, and the grade level we want to capture. Now, want to share a couple more things, and then I'm done because I don't want to take your Sunday. Resources. If you're new to publishing, from Harold Underdown, a children's editor, here is all the general advice from getting an agent, Ask the Agent, the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, American Indians in Children's Literature, a blog, and paging out a manuscript. All the links, I'm going to share that with you, okay? And the best resource that I could give you right now is this woman, Angie Abreu, Angela Abreu, Dominican Writers. If you don't believe me, I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to show you her wonderful website that she spent so much money on that I use all the time. Look at that. We go to Dominican Writers. We could shop for sweaters too. No te creas, esa mujer no está fácil. Hasta la suéter no podemos comprar. There's something says, where is it? The resources for writers? Writing resources. Right here. Under writers, we go to writing resources. And look, submit book review, call for submissions, writing workshops, funding your projects, Dominican books, Pan America, Writer's Digest, Eto. And my favorite one is this one, the self-publishing guidebook. I use it. I have it. You know, and then obviously she has more things. But if you are in doubt of where to go, I'm going to share my slides and Angie will share it. But wanted to give you all that. And lastly, if you like this writing workshop, let's keep in touch. This is me. This is my website, my Instagram. You can follow me. I'm usually doing posts every couple days, either a poem or something that's true to me. You could donate to my cause, or you could contact me for consultations.
Buy her books.
As always, or you could buy my books. But I think one of the things I want to do right now is share with you how writing could be a part of your everyday story. It doesn't have to be like I have to have this really hard way of thinking when it comes to children's book writer. It could be what you see on your everyday life. And let me share with you this last thing. Oh, cancel, hold on. Let me do this. I shared this with Angie and I just posted this up. Ay, Dios mío, where is it? I'm gonna get it. Here it is. My son's first book. And it was based on his story because he has an imaginary sheep that he loves so much. And
Put the audio on.
Yeah, I'm trying to put the audio. I'm really bad.
You gotta hit it's on mute on YouTube.
It's on mute. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Here's the link.
Yeah, that it doesn't, you can't hear it.
You can't hear.
So I want to check.
There we go.
When you look up and in your Zoom screen, it says original sound. Is that on or off? It needs to be on.
Oh.
And try again, and we should be able to hear you. And just so you know, even when you're mute, oh no, that's not true. So original sound on should allow us to be able to grab it. I think that's the one.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure it out. I think it's advanced sharing options, right? Okay, I'm so sorry. It's taking me a little bit of a time.
The advanced sharing will share only audio if you want. But if you're trying to hear the sound, again, it's just at the screen you're looking at with all of us on it. At the top left corner, there's the little green check under the three. Well, I have a Mac, so I don't know what you have. It should say original sound next to where's the little red dot that says recording? At least that's what it is on my Mac. So.
Oh, I see.
And
I know.
You touch it.
I'm so
Luz,
sorry.
Luz, you could post the link in the chat and I could share it if you want.
Eso también.
Yeah, let's do that because me volví un poquito bruta. I'm sorry, guys.
And Luz, I'm happy to take you offline and make sure you know how to do it so that you never feel this way.
Yeah, it's okay. So just to share with you, my son was inspired in the middle of the pandemic to start writing a book. We wrote a book, just focus on something he loved, and it was his stuffed animal. We made sure that his animal had adventures. just almost similar to the umbrella, what we watched with the umbrella, the dog getting into all these issues with the umbrella. We talked about his stuffed animal called Sheepy. He gave it a name. And Sheepy not only did a lot of menacing things, but my son was always taking care of the sheep. That's how we wrote a story. So it could be something as simple as that, or simple, true to you when you were little, something that represents your inner child. So
Okay, I'm gonna share it now, okay?
How old is he?
he just turned 8.
Wow.
It took us 2 years to write this. Yeah,
Wow.
go. Sorry.
Hold on. Oh, where is this? Now I can't find the screen.
Don't worry, yo estaba igual.
Okay, hold on. Let me know if you see it.
We see
You
it.
see it? Okay.
Santo
Can you hear
and
it?
Sheepy, written by Tony Santo Mack and Luz Maria Mack.
Dedication. Thank you, family, for inspiring our son, Tony Santo Mack, to dream big. We survived the pandemic with our new friend Sheepy and Tony's stories of their wild adventures.
Santo was stuck at home with nothing to do. But Mommy and Daddy surprised him with a new best friend. After all, his parents wanted to make things fun at home. A cute stuffed sheep called Sheepy filled the missing place of Santo's friends, whom he couldn't see until school started again. Santo showed Sheepy around the home and said, "Mi casa es su casa." Sheepy snuggled up to him, for he had a lot of love to give. Sheepy was quite talkative when no one was around. Santo was the only one that heard him speak, and no others heard a sound. "I'm hungry. Give me burgers." That is what Sheepy said the most. Santo couldn't always make burgers and made him cheesy toast. If they didn't have the food Sheepy liked to eat, he would graze on things in Santo's room. He was a mischievous little sheep. He ate his toys and ate his clothes. He ate his shoes and socks. He ate the posters on the wall and even ate the clock. Santo thought it was funny to have a hungry, talking sheep that even ate his pillow slips while Santo tried to sleep. The family thought Santo looked cute with his woolly, stuffy friend, but they didn't know Sheepy could talk and thought he was playing pretend. Sheepy likes loud music, but didn't get the blame. "Santo, turn that music down. It's messing with my brain." Sometimes Sheepy caused problems, like messing up the pantry or talking through the night. Sheepy helped keep Santo calm whenever things got hard, like every time he missed his friends or couldn't play in the backyard. Sheepy was always by his side, even when he got to see his friends. Santo would even try to make him speak. Sheepy only spoke to Santo. This would never change. If Santo said, "The sheep can talk," people looked at him strangely. At the dinner table, Sheepy sat beside Santo. "Hey, Mom, you know he doesn't like chicken, rice, or beans, but a burger is his favorite." Mom just smiled at her young son, saying, "I made one just for him." She placed an imaginary burger down, and that made Santo grin. Sheepy felt very special and loved to be a part of the family. He was Santo's bestest friend, the greatest thing to be.
Author's note. The pandemic forced a new normal in the entire world, especially for children. We all missed our pre-life, and our kids didn't like being stuck at home all day and night. Because of this, my husband gifted our son Tony a stuffed animal, which motivated him to become a storyteller. Tony began to create imaginary stories with his stuffed animal. He made our family laugh by telling us all the fun adventures he would get into, taking care of his new stuffy. And it only felt right to document their escapade for prosperity.
Thank you. Thank you, Angie. This was amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
That was awesome.
And just so you know, my son learned a thing or two because seeing me do it over and over again. Time only makes people become better at things and storytelling. He is a boy, and like most boys, they like playing games. He wanted his story to end, and we custom made a word find based on the story so kids could learn. A maze, and the answer keys are in the back. And we also included a barcode, so when they buy the book, they could click on it, and there's a Instagram filter it takes you to on a website. So what am I trying to say? The sky's the limit. The way you want to do your children's book, remember, I want to see your children's book from your eyes, from your perspective. I want to see Rosita's story, Judy's story, Alex's story, Joe's, Lila, Stina, Maddox, where are you? Did you jump off? Thank you for being, everyone, Raisa. What I'm trying to say, you guys, you have to feed that inner child. And I promise you, when you do it, you're gonna feel so much better about the gift you're giving the world and how you're helping kids see kids of color in a different light. So I thank you for this opportunity to share this.
This is a historical piece, you know, that's definitely for posterity. Absolutely, it's just great.
So the majority of Luz's books are animated, if you didn't know. She makes sure to
that's my challenge.
And when she presents at schools and readings, she has a PowerPoint ready of her book, and she has the animation as well that she could show to the students who are viewing it. So yeah, there's so much to go into when you're writing children's book, right? Especially one of the first questions I ask our authors is, what is your goal with your book? Is it just for you to write it for yourself and give it to your children and your family members? Or are you trying to get it into schools and libraries and other academic institutions? Because that is your goal. Then there's like a very specific and very standard way and rules that you should be following when writing your children's book. I mean, it's all great to do everything your way and disrupt the system, but also know that when you're pitching to publishers and you're trying to get your book into these institutions, they're looking for something very specific. And if your book does not fall within those standards, like the likeliness of them picking it up is very slim. So I'm convincing Luz to teach a children's writing workshop. It's going to be a series. So I'm putting a little pressure on her because there's so much to go into.
The pressure is on.
To share. So within a few weeks, Luz is going to have that workshop series ready, because I'm like, chop, chop, come on. You know, given by the many people that signed up for today's lesson, I hope you are now convinced, Luz, that, you know, the information that you have to share is very valuable.
No, God bless. Thank you.
Luz has been published, has self-published. She has published with small presses, and she has published her book with Disney Encanto series. So the world is the limit, guys. A lot of people think that just because you're self-published, that's it. That's the end of it all for you. And it's not. People are watching you. They're watching how you're publishing your book. And when they watch, they become interested and they reach out to you.
It's so true.
You know, to have, Luz has worked with, I'm not going to mention it because that's your business, but she has worked with companies that you would be like, oh, really? But she's just self-published. But yeah, but it's the way she goes about doing it.
Yeah, you have to walk into the room and know what your message very well. That's why I talk about the essence. That's not the word. The formal word is like, what is your theme? What is the goal? What is the mission? But I say the essence is show me a little Latinx girl in my country. That's how I want to disrupt the world. But that's just me. And the books, the children's book space is very white and also is TV. Is the whitest you've ever seen. And if you could marry both of them, hey, sky's the limit, like Angie says. And I'm so proud to be part of this community. I'm proud to call Angie my friend because I've learned so much from her. So honestly, Angie's got it. That's the sauce right there.
So we will share this video in the, let me end it actually. Let me end